Now I'd like to introduce Patty Wokovitz, who lost her daughter to meningococcal disease.
Good morning. My name is Patty Wokovitz. I'm from Massapequa, Long Island, and I lost my beautiful 17-year-old Kimberly to meningococcal disease serogroup B almost 3 years ago in 2012. Kim was just days away from high school graduation and from her prom when she came down with what seemed like the flu. In a matter of hours, she had the start of a rash on one of her ankles, and I took her to the emergency room, and she was then admitted to the ICU. Although Kim was immediately diagnosed and treated promptly and appropriately, meningitis still took her life after several days on life support. Kim had meningococcemia, which meant that the bacteria had invaded her bloodstream. Because the toxins in her blood affected oxygen from reaching her extremities, had Kim survived, she would have lost both of her arms and both of her legs. She would have been a quadruple amputee. We had just purchased her a beautiful prom dress. She loved it so much that we decided to bury her in it. Just 2 days before she was to wear it to her prom. That's a decision no family should ever have to make. And that's why I'm here today, supporting legislation to expand the use of vaccines to protect against meningitis. As a nurse, I was vigilant about having my children vaccinated. Kim had been vaccinated against meningitis, but at the time she died, vaccines were only available for 4 strains. There are 5 serogroups of the disease. I told the emergency room doctor when she said, we believe your daughter has meningitis. I said, that's impossible. She's been vaccinated. As it turns out, Kim had the 5th serogroup, the B group, and so she was not protected. Just last year, the FDA approved 2 new vaccines to protect against the B serogroup. In February 2015, I spoke before ACIP, the CDC's Advisory Committee of Immunization Practices. They were meeting on how they would make recommendations to use the new meningococcal B vaccines. The outcome was that one of their recommendations is to use meningococcal B vaccine in only an outbreak situation and not to be used broadly. It's my hope that when ACIP meets again in June, that the B vaccine will be recommended broadly in conjunction with the current meningococcal vaccine, and then everyone will be protected against all 5 serogroups. Students need to be protected before going to middle school, high school, and college. Vaccinating children in 6th and 11th grades, as proposed in this legislation, will no doubt drastically reduce the number of unnecessary meningococcal deaths and disabilities in New York State. This is not just a college disease. As a mother, I established the Kimberly Coffee Foundation to honor my daughter and to prevent another meningitis-related tragedy. I want to be sure that the public and healthcare professionals know that there are vaccines for this very real disease with very real consequences. It's out there, and this disease strikes without warning. It will take a very healthy person down within 24 hours. And as a nurse, I want to make sure my colleagues can quickly identify and treat meningitis. Delays in understanding and diagnosing this disease can be fatal. And Kim was diagnosed quickly, and still she did not survive. Despite the fact that it's too late for my child, I'm passionate about making sure that most up-to-date vaccines are available to the widest number of people. Had there been a B vaccine before my daughter died, she would have been vaccinated and would still be here with us. And I wouldn't be here, literally standing in Kim's shoes, the very shoes she should be wearing, while in her 3rd year of college pursuing her dream of being a pediatric nurse. This legislation, as proposed by Assemblymember Gunther and Senator Hannan, will help prevent another family from the loss that we have suffered. Thank you.
So I'd now like to introduce Deb Gerdo, who lost her daughter to meningococcal disease as well.
Good afternoon. This is my daughter, Lindsay. Lindsay died from meningococcal disease December 24th, 2001, almost 13 years ago. She was a typical teenager. She loved life. She had a lot of friends, and she was just a fun-loving kid. Lindsay was out of school. She was out of high school and not in college. And so she didn't probably fit what most people think would be where you would contract meningococcal disease or meningitis, as most people think of it. She had just celebrated her 18th birthday a few days before she died. And my husband and I were Christmas shopping, and on our way home when she called saying that she had a headache. We didn't think too much of that. However, the symptoms progressed, and we actually thought that she had the flu. What I want to make clear is that this disease mimics the flu. It has flu-like symptoms, which would be a headache, a sore throat, vomiting, diarrhea. Two of her friends actually had the flu, and so that's what we naturally thought it was. In the middle of the night, she woke us up with a high fever. But by morning, after giving her Tylenol, her fever had went down and she became somewhat stabilized. After waking up from a nap, however, her symptoms showed a purplish rash on her legs, and that's when we called the ambulance. Upon arriving at the hospital, they did diagnose her with meningitis because she showed the rash, and she was intubated, no longer could speak to us, went into what was like a coma, and within 36 hours from the first symptom of a headache, our daughter succumbed to meningococcal disease. I don't want to restate everything that was said from Patty and Michael, but I wholeheartedly agree with everything. This disease is a fast-moving, potentially preventable disease which can affect any age group. And I want to also say that I have 5 grandchildren, 2 adult children that have survived this devastating loss. And right now, everyone in my family, extended family, friends, know what meningitis is and how deadly it can be. And if you are lucky or blessed enough to survive like Michael did, it can leave you with a totally transformed life, with amputations of limbs. And honestly, if Michael would show you, or not, he has lost both of your legs. I have since met numerous survivors, and it's incredible what they have to go through now. I am fully in support of this bill that is here, and I just ask for your support also to tell your family and your friends, and just support it. Thank you.